So in networking, we have three categories of ports. Yeah, in networking, we have three categories of ports. And the total number of ports we have in networking is 65,535 ports. That is the total number of ports we have in networking. And all these ports, there are categories of them. We have system ports, we have system ports, we have users ports, which can be called registered ports. Then we have dynamic or private ports. We have system ports, we have registered ports or users ports, and we have dynamic or private ports. So the system port ranges from 0 to 1023. That is system port. That is the port that has been assigned, the DNS, the port that has been assigned to like the protocol we use on the internet. That is the system port from 0 to 1023. Example of system port is the HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, Telnet. Telnet, the port number that has been assigned to Telnet. Then you still have the port number that is assigned to SSH, which is 22. And SSH protocol is used when you want to use an SSH protocol. Is when you want to work on a server that is not, that you are not, as if you are working on, let me just say you are working on a server which is not located around you, like it's not around you, but you're actually using your system to work on the server as if you are directly with the server. That is what port 22 is used for. That is SSH. So if they call you to come and work on the server, the port you are going to be using is port 22, which is SSH. So system port, that is an example of system port. System port are port assigned to the internet protocols that we use. That is system port from port 0, and it's ranging from 0 to 1023. Example is the DNS, which is port 53. Example is the FTPS, which is 993. Yeah, 993. That is for FTPS. That is for file transfer protocol, the secure version of FTP. That is for FTPS. So the users ports, these users ports are the port that we use with the users. Like me and you are the port that your system use to communicate. Don't worry, I'm practicing the OSI model on Wireshark. You will see what I'm trying to say. These user port are the port that is assigned to users. That is assigned to user and is temporary. You can use one port now, before you know, after using it, it still be assigned to another person. That is, if that session is being closed, another port will still be assigned to you. As I'm making this call now, there is a port assigned to us that we are using as a user. There's a port assigned to us that we are using as a user. I will share my screen immediately I'm done with this port number. It's not much. I just want to quickly rush it because of our time. Then that is the user's port, and it ranges for 1024 to 49,151. That is the range of users port from 1024 to 49,551. Hope I'm not too fast. If I'm too fast, you can just comment attention. That is the users. Then the dynamic ports, these are private ports. They are private ports. These are ports that are being assigned to maybe somebody that is planning to that want to maybe have his own server, host his server in the cloud. There will be a port that will be assigned to the person. Yeah, there will be a port that will be assigned to that organization that want to host maybe their server in the cloud. That is what the private port is used for. It's being used privately to assign to an individual. Maybe you want to host your server in the cloud also. And the port ranges from 49,152 to 65,535. That is it. That is the dynamic port or private port. Is being assigned to an individual. Maybe you want to host your server on maybe in the cloud, so they will assign port from you from this private port ranges from 49,152 to 65,535. So the system ports that I mentioned earlier, it is used by core system service and common internet protocol. So these services are HTTP, which is port 80, HTTPS 443, then FTP, which is port 21, then SSH port 22, then SMTP port 25. Please, before I continue, who can tell me the SMTP? Which protocol is SMTP? What does we use SMTP for? Like, which protocol uses SMTP? Can somebody unmute and just tell us the protocol uses SMTP? That is, if I mention the full meaning now, somebody will just get it. Just tell me what SMTP is used for. The port number is 25. I mentioned it in our last class. So can somebody just tell me?
It's used for sending emails, SMTP.
Yeah, correct. SMTP is used to send email. SMTP is used to send email. I think that is all about port numbers and their categories. Now we'll go to our today's topic, which is OSI model and TCP IP. OSI model and TCP IP. Have you guys ever wondered?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
I want to get the figures correctly of those. Like, I know that from
Port,
system is 0 to 1023. Then the users registered ports, it's 1024 to, is it 49,551?
No, 49,000. 151.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
49,000.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. But did you get the dynamic?
Yeah, it's 49,152 to 65,535.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So have you guys ever wondered that? Do you guys notice that? Sorry. The device that you are producing now from your power bank, your laptop, even iPhone, do you guys notice that they are all using Type-C? And have you guys ever wondered that why is it that all these devices now are using Type-C? Why? I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to discuss about the OSI model. So the reason behind devices now using Type-C is the OSI model standardization. We are going to be looking at what is OSI model, how does it work, the layers in OSI model and TCP/IP model. What is the difference between OSI model and TCP/IP model? So let me share my screen to show you the. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the OSI model, what I have here is the OSI model is a 7-layer framework used to understand how computer communicates. Yeah, that is just the basic knowledge behind the OSI model. It's the 7-layer framework that's used to understand how computer communicates. Like the WhatsApp message you are sending, the WhatsApp messages follows a set of protocols. Yeah, before it could get to the before it could get to the person you are sending message to, and the person will actually send back the message to you. So the message you are trying to send via your WhatsApp actually followed a 7-layer framework, which is called the OSI model. Yeah, that is actually the basic meaning behind the OSI model. Now, the OSI model is a 7-layer framework used to understand how computer communicates. Now, think of it as a step-by-step process that data flows from one device to another. You know that in our networking class, we are actually still in networking class, though. You know that I told you that before sending a message, the message you are sending is actually a packet. How packet flows from your device to the ISP router to the server of the person. Like now, maybe you are trying to send a WhatsApp message. That message you are trying to send is actually called packet. So the pack from your device, from you sending the message from your device, is actually going to follow some protocols. Is actually going to follow some routers, some invisible routers online, which you can see before it's going to get to the WhatsApp server and locate the person you're actually sending the message to. So that is just the basic knowledge behind the OSI model. Then OSI model standardization. I said earlier that the reason behind every device now using type C is the OSI model standardization. Now the OSI model, which is the open system intercommunication, which is the full meaning of OSI. The full meaning of OSI is open system interconnection, was developed by the International Organization for Standardization in 1984. It provides a standard framework that allows different vendors, hardware, and software to communicate with another. Now, this standardization helps us to limit how vendors actually maybe communicate to another. You know, before iPhone are actually using a lightning cable before they now change it now to Type C. So imagine that, and it's one of the another reason for this OSI model standardization is that it helps consumer to like reduce cost. Maybe now you have a iPhone, you have a Samsung, you have a MacBook. You won't have to buy different type of chargers again. So the OSI model standardization help us to like maintain a single communication protocol to help to enhance our communication online. That is it. So here the OSI model, the open system interconnection model, was developed by the International Organization for Standardization in 1984. It provides a standard framework that allows different vendors, hardware and software to communicate with one another. Although the internet primarily uses, the internet primarily uses the TCP/IP. We'll get there. This OSI model is just like a sketch of how the internet, of how my message is being transferred through the internet. But the real one, the one that happened real life, the one that will actually experience is the TCP/IP model. We'll get there. So although the internet primarily uses the TCP/IP model, and the OSI model remain the most widely used teaching and troubleshooting framework. Yeah, that's what they use. If you're a networking engineer now, and maybe you want to go and troubleshoot layer 7, and layer 7 actually is in TCP/IP. Layer 7 is actually 3. You have the presentation, the session, and the application. So even though the fault is still in a presentation layer, the networking engineer will actually say the problem is still in layer 7. So we'll get there. You understand this layer that I'm trying to talk about. So the OSI model is widely used for teaching and is actually for troubleshooting framework. And if you're actually writing your CCNA, the OSI model is actually 7 layers, while the TCP/IP model is 4, and the hybrid part is 5. But if you are writing a CCNA exam and they ask you for the TCP/IP model, is actually 5. They will have the physical attached to it. So let's move on. Now the OSI model have 7 layers. The layer 7, which is application, the presentation layer, the session layer, the transport layer, the network layer, the data link layer, and the physical layer. Now, let me stop sharing this and share and demonstrate something using packet tracer.